Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1550.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. I'm revved up and very excited to share with you today a very special returning guest by the name of Andy Reid. He's calling in from Collinsville, Connecticut. We're going to do a little different kind of show today because Andy has something very cool to share with you. Andy Reid is a certified sports car fanatic who travels the world to see what's crossing the auction blocks. He's written for Grassroots Motorsports, Racer, Vintage Motorsports, RM Sotheby's, Victory Lane, Jaguar World, and Haggerty Insurance website, and was the auction columns at Classic Motorsports magazine for 12 years. He's worked as a marketing director for several auction companies, and Andy is currently the East Coast editor and auction analyst at ClassicCars.com, which is the Zillow for the classic car auction industry. In addition, he has the honor of being the auction columnist at Magneto magazine, which he says is the finest collector car magazine in the world. He is also a licensed independent collector car insurance specialist at Haydenwood Insurance. We're going to learn more about them. He is a respected Concours judge and in his own collection of classic cars and motorcycles has both one scale and die-cast models and a lot of watches too. And during this pandemic, Andy has created something very wonderful and very unique we're going to share today. I'm not going to give it up quite yet. We'll be right back where we hear a word from our valued sponsors and we'll talk to Andy, so hold tight. You know I'm a huge fan of Covercraft. I've protected my vehicles with their products for decades. Want to keep your vehicle's interior looking new? It's easy with Covercraft seat covers. They'll protect your seats from the daily abuse of pets, children, weekend adventures, and those everyday spills. It's a fast, easy, and inexpensive way to keep your vehicle looking new. All Covercraft seat protectors are easy on, easy off designs that are machine washable. You can choose from many fabric options, colors, and accessories, all designed and carefully sewn for your special vehicle. Their seat gloves are semi-custom fit for cars and trucks. Their seat savers are custom tailored to fit your seats, just like a glove. Work truck seat covers are tough, durable, denim weight fabric. It's like putting a pair of rugged jeans on your truck's seats. Covercraft is the right choice. Learn a lot more today at covercraft.com and tell them Mark Green at Cars Yeah sent you. By the way, I've got a deal for you. You can get 10% off using the code YEAH120. That's YEAH 120 at checkout. Go to covercraft.com, use the code YEAH120, and get 10% off today. Covercraft, they've got you covered. My favorite collector car magazine is Keith Martin's Sports Car Market. I've been a subscriber for decades. Sports Car Market is the Wall Street Journal for enthusiasts and collectors. It's your monthly must-read whether you dream of owning a collector car or if you have 200 in your garage. Sports Car Market has been around for 31 years, and it's filled with valuable articles, intelligent write-ups, and the latest auction sales. Go to sportscarmarket.com and subscribe today. Plus, you'll get an exclusive SCM guide to restoration shops included for free. And I've got a couple very cool offers. One is if you go and subscribe to their digital subscription, you're going to get 50% off using the code Cars Yeah. That's right, 50% off their digital subscription. But wait, that's not all. If you go and subscribe and get their print magazine and use the code BSH, you get $10 off. That's right, $10 off. Why BSH? Well, that's the Buy, Sell, Hold podcast that I do every Tuesday with Keith Martin. You'll find it here on the Cars Yeah website or using your mobile device with any mobile device podcast app, or you can find it at sportscarmarket.com. That's Buy, Sell, Hold, the essence of collecting. Hey, Andy, welcome to Cars Yeah. I should say welcome back to Cars Yeah. Are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
I sure am, Mark.
All right, great to have you back here. I'm going to start as I typically do, and then we're going to migrate into a little different approach here today, but I'd love to ask you for a success quote or a mantra, some kind of saying that's been instrumental in forming the success you've seen in life and the fun you have with cars. It's a nice way to get the tires smoking here on Cars Yeah. So, Andy, grab the wheel.
Thanks very much, Mark. Well, one of my heroes and the guy I actually got to spend some time with before he passed away was Sterling Moss. And I also raced cars for a number of years before I quit doing it. And one of the things he said was, to achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble in the boundary of disaster. And that applies to racing as well as business and life in general. Without risk, there's no rewards. And the bigger the risk, the bigger the rewards. So I've kind of lived my life with that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we recently lost him, sadly, last month, and what a treasure he has been and was to the racing industry, and will continue to be as an inspiration. I had the incredible pleasure of spending an evening with him and Lady Susie in Paris at a very private little dinner, and it was just so marvelous sitting. I actually got to sit between those two, and if you've spent any time with those two, they love to banter back and forth and poke some fun at each other. Yes, we lost somebody very special. We're so happy to have had him in our lives, and the inspiration that he provided. So Godspeed to Sir Sterling Moss. Let's talk a little bit about what you do in business before we jump into this new little idea that you're sharing with the Facebook world. I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about Haydenwood Insurance, that company, what the company does, what it provides, how you're involved with that, and also, of course, your involvement with ClassicCars.com.
Perfect, Mark. Yeah, what we do at Haydenwood is we think of ourselves as the top tier of collector car insurance. And we don't just do collector cars, we insure the people that have those cars every bit of their life they need to insure, from travel insurance to home insurance to umbrella insurance. Everybody in the office is also a car collector, and that's how we're different, is that we are in the hobby we insure, and we insure every single bit of it. Transport insurance, we insure restoration shops. I had a restoration shop for a couple of years, so I know that business inside and out, so I'm kind of our in-house expert for that. We insure dealerships. So we kind of do everything to deal with classic cars, and we can handle all the rest of the stuff, but the classic cars is basically our entry point, because we are real people in the hobby. And that's how we're different, is that we really participate. We judge, we show, we restore. We're in every bit of it.
As we all know, and if you've ever tried to insure a collector car with regular insurance, they just don't get it. They have no clue. Well, that's an old car. It's not worth very much. Okay. So definitely important, if you have a collector car, to consult a collector car insurance company like Haydenwood Insurance so that you get the proper coverage, because otherwise you're going to be in for a nasty surprise should something terrible happen to your vehicle. And what about ClassicCars.com? What's your involvement there?
I am the auctions editor and East Coast editor, so I cover the auction markets. I write a number of different stories during the week. I just wrote one that, since we're all buying cars at a distance on Bring a Trailer or on classified ads, I did a story on 5 things to ask the seller when you buy a classic car at a distance, because you can't get it inspected or whatever else. What are those key questions you need to ask before you buy that car?
Where can people find that?
ClassicCars.com. If you type in ClassicCars.com, Andy Reid in Google, it'll show up, and all my stories will show up there, and you'll see that story.
Oh, that's perfect. Awesome. So many of us, and I've done the same thing. My current classic car came from eBay, and you take sometimes a big gamble when you don't have it inspected and you're taking the word of the person. And we all know that things look a lot better typically in pictures than they do in real life. So definitely this would be a great place for you listeners to go if you're thinking about purchasing something right now. The market is rather interesting right now, of course, and I wanted to touch on that briefly before we jump into this new idea that you're bringing forth to us with this pandemic, because I think about, okay, you go and write about auctions. Well, the auctions are kind of dried up a bit. Car shows, it seems like every week we get another terrible announcement that something else isn't going to happen. And for those of us who love to attend shows, and I see you every year at Car Week and other auctions and things, Andy, I mean, you seem to be everywhere. This is a challenging time. So how are you working around what's going on with what's happening right now? How are you faring, Andy?
I'm doing pretty well. The funny thing is, with everybody sitting at home, content is king right now, and more people want to read stuff. So I'm writing, where I was writing 1 or 2 stories a week, I'm writing 3 or 4 stories a week now for different online venues or magazines or what have you, because people are dying to read stuff because they're consuming at a higher rate than they ever have before.
Yes.
Within the market itself, it's interesting. I just penned my Magneto column about a week ago, so this is like about a month ago by the time we were hearing this. And I said, basically the lead was, hey, everything looked great in Arizona, and then Amelia backed up. The market was pretty stable, and then the world stopped.
Yes.
And it kind of did. But what happened is Bring a Trailer didn't. They increased their sales drastically. Their site visits were much higher than they've been in the past. Mm-hmm. And other auction companies have sprouted up too. Hemmings has got one. There's P-Car Market. And so the online market has really taken off. Also, from talking to friends anecdotally who are dealers, the person-to-person sales via, people calling people up and saying, hey, I want to buy that Ferrari 330 has taken off too. People have not stopped buying. They're just, the brick and mortar auctions they don't exist. RM did one and Bonhams did one, and they had reasonable success. In fact, crazy success for never having done it before. But the interesting thing too is, though, I feel that Bring a Trailer is a neat venue, but I pen this in my column for Magneto. I said they're kind of the MySpace, where we haven't seen a Facebook yet, because what they've done is they haven't taken the best of market ideas from brick and mortar auctions, like having auction specialists and things that are dedicated to said car. Mm-hmm. They haven't taken those best practices and put them into their technology, things that can be done. And so I think that they have really kind of just to a certain degree rested in their laurels with what they deliver as a product, where they could really up the game. I mean, they're kind of a game changer already, but they could be a complete disruptor if they took those best practices from brick and mortar auctions, which are doable technologically, and put them into their site. The person that does that is going to be the winner in the online auction space. They will be the Facebook.
Well, let's talk about something that you came up with here, which I think is a really cool, brilliant idea. You understanding that, and I believe you were talking to Bill Warner when this idea came together, the idea of a Facebook page is titled the Isolation Island Concours d'Elegance. So tell us a little bit about where the idea came from, and also what is this all about? I entered my model last night.
Fantastic. I saw it too. It's a great entry. It's letter perfect. You followed the directions, which people don't always do.
Well, there's a lot of directions to read, and us men don't read. I don't know what you were thinking when you put all that out.
Well, obviously you did, because you did it right.
Well,
so
thank
you. There you go.
Thank you.
No, what I was doing is I was supposed to be cleaning my office, and my wife's probably next door listening to me say this and like cracking up because my office isn't. It's always a mess, and she calls me a hoarder, but it's not really hoarding. It's every auction catalog I've ever gone to an auction for that gets stacked up after an event. It's books that people send me, and it's all kinds of, it's all car junk, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Credentials that I can't seem to throw away.
Yep.
And I have a whole bunch of die-cast cars. I have die-cast cars of two things: cars I really, really, really want to own and can't afford, or cars I've sold at auction, or cars I've owned.
Yep.
And one of which is a Renault Fuego, which is ironic, but I did own one once. So I'm like, why do I have all these things? And I'm like,
they're memories.
Yeah, they are, exactly. But I'm thinking, I have too many. And I'm like, what am I going to do with these things? And I said, wait a second. Couldn't you put them online and like do a Concours with these things? And I wonder if my Concours judge friends would, if I asked them, would judge these things and make it a real legitimate Concours with real judges. And so I got on the phone. I called Ken Gross, and I called Michael Furman, and I called a couple other people. I called Paul Russell from Paul Russell and Company, who's a Mercedes-Benz and Ferrari expert. He does Miles Collier's cars and Ralph Lauren's cars just for restorations.
Yeah.
And they all said, yeah, they'd love to do it. I'm like, now I've got to do it. So my next call, that was a Sunday night. On Monday morning, I called up Bill Warner. I said, Bill, so I've got this idea. What do you think? He goes, I think it's a crazy idea and it's brilliant. Go for it. And he initially said, I only got about 15 minutes. I said, that's fine. So an hour and 20 minutes later, I'm still on the phone with Bill Warner, which in itself is an amazing occurrence, because you can't get Bill on the phone that long, but we're still talking about stuff. And we came up with the class, he walked me through what I was doing with classes, and he came up with the idea of the Isolation Island Concours. I was calling it Concours d'Elegance of the Carpet, based on a thing.
The carpet.
Well, Vu did this thing on that Sunday. He did this thing called Cars and Coffee on the Carpet. He did this little video.
I saw that. Yeah.
He did this video of his cars on his carpet of his home. And I thought, that's a great idea. But what if and that's what I thought. It's like, you could elevate this. And so Vu was one of my judges. He was he's a permanent judge on the Concours. And he thought it was a great idea too. He's like, wow, that's a great idea. And, go for it. It's going to take a lot of time. And that's what Bill warned me, is it was going to take a lot of time. I thought, oh no, well, how much time is it going to take? But it's taken a lot of time.
No kidding. It's quite elaborate. I'll put a link on Andy's show notes page here on the Cars Yeah website, but you can go to Facebook and just type in the Isolation Island Concours. d'Elegance, and you'll see what's there. Do what I did. Read the instructions. They are long, but take time to read them. We're all home right now, so you've got a little more time on your hands instead of wasting it with some of the other silly Facebook posts that are out there. And then, pick a model car, and you can enter it, multiple pictures of that car. In my case, I entered my 87 Turbo, which I affectionately call my Orange Crush. I have the actual car, and a friend of mine, who's actually was one of the cameramen on the Cars Yeah TV show last year that I produced, he builds models. They're not scratch models, but he takes model car kits and highly modifies them to an exacting standard of your car, even down to the test sprays on getting my 6-stage metallic pearl orange paint right. I didn't know he was doing this. He did it as a complete surprise and a gift to me. And when he sent it to me, I just was floored. He even has my Cars Yeah sticker on the rear window, which is just mind-boggling. Jake Gunnarsson is his name. He does a wonderful job. You can go to the Facebook page and see my car posted there. But there's so many cool cars, and what I find fun is all the stories that people post, and you can go in there and ask people about their model cars. And there's all different kinds of cars. And let me ask you this. You added something to this, which I think is really brilliant and very kind of you to do. And there's a philanthropic angle to this whole thing. And I understand that's been a little bit of an unexpected positive result so far. So tell us about that.
Yeah, well, we had one of the things I requested is I said, hey, if you can afford it, because I know times are tough right now for some people, for a lot of people, we'd love you to give a small donation of, let's say, $5 to a charity that's local to you where you live that is meaningful towards helping with the thing we have right now. A charity needs help, whatever else. During the first round, we had 180 some odd entries, and not everybody. I know not everybody put their posting of what they gave, the charity they gave to, in their listing. So a lot of people put in the end, my charity I gave to at the end of their description, they'll say I gave to XYZ. But we know of 44 charities they gave to, and none of them gave $5. They all with 44 charities, we're in the thousands of dollars of giving we've given out in the first. This is just in the first round of this.
Yeah. And
we've already got 22 charities with 85 entries now, which that's a higher level of knowing because they kind of embrace this.
Yeah.
So that was just a really nice thing that happened. I didn't really expect. I didn't expect the stories I got from these cars because so many great stories people have told, and I didn't expect the giving, the level of giving we've gotten.
Yeah, it's pretty tremendous. In fact, after I entered mine, I asked my wife, and you reminded me now, I need to go back and put what our charity is. I said, well, what would you like to do? And she goes, well, our local food bank, I think is really important to help local families that are having a challenging time right now, either with not having a job, no income. I mean, the food bank feeds so many people in my community here that are in need of it. And I like the way they work and the fact that all the donations go to help people so they can get food on their table right now. So that's going to be our charity of choice. I think it's great that you added that element to it. That way it, like many Concours events, you think about, let's say Pebble Beach last year gave away over $2 million to their charities. All these charities, these Concours events have charities attached to them where they help their local communities, which makes it so important. Let me ask you this. You already mentioned that you were talking to Bill Warner, and you mentioned some names here. Bill Warner, of course, Amelia Ion, he's been a guest many times here on the show, and he's also a guest on the new Buy, Sell, Hold podcast I do with Keith Martin, where we have him on the show, and we interviewed him. Vu, you mentioned with the Porsche Club, of course. I liked his carpet Concours idea, which was pretty cool. So who are some of the other people involved in this project as judges?
Okay, I'll give you the list. Michael Furman, photographer.
Yes,
many of us know.
Been on Cars,
many
yeah.
books. Yep. Dirk Yeager, who is also my right-hand man, who's also a very big-time automotive photographer.
Yep.
Of classic cars. Dr. Paul Sable, who's a chief judge at Pebble and Amelia.
Yeah.
Lily Prey, who's a judge at Amelia.
She was just on the show not too long ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Cam Ingren, the owner of Road Scholars. Vu from PCA.
Yep.
We get into some heavy hitters again here. Ralph Gilles, the global head of design for Fiat Chrysler.
Gosh. Wow.
Keith Martin, founder of Sports Car Market.
Oh, I know that guy.
Paul Russell. Yeah, I know that guy too. Paul Russell from Paul Russell and Company.
Nice.
Don Rose, Aston Martin expert. Frank Campanelli, who's a Ferrari judge at Pebble and Amelia.
Yeah.
Massimo Delbo, he's a Ferrari judge at both as well, and a noted journalist.
Yeah.
Lance Miller, the owner of Carlisle Events, who's a Corvette expert.
Yeah, great guy.
Other things too, but Corvette.
And a surfer.
Ken Gross.
Yeah.
D. Randy Riggs, editor at Vintage Motorsport.
Yeah.
Mark Moskowitz. John Nikas, noted automotive author. He says hi, by the way.
Awesome.
Tommy Kendall, two-time IMSA GTU
Tommy,
champion and four-time SCCA Trans Am champion.
Tommy was actually my 500th guest, and he came back on my 1000th show and interviewed me on that show, which was really
that's awesome.
Was really fun, yeah.
I've also got Alan Galbraith from Concord Lemons.
Wow.
Am I saying his right name? Like Galbraith?
Galbraith, yeah, I believe so. Yep. Sorry if we goofed that one up, Alan.
Alan, you can punch me later. David Hobbs.
David, nice.
Yes. And our chief judge is McKeel Haggerty.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
There's other people in here, but I can just keep going. I mean, it's literally, I kind of said, who would I want to judge if I could have anybody I wanted to judge the Concours worldwide?
Wow.
And so and they all said yes. And I've got, I'm rotating people in and out as we do different classes. Everyone's still saying yes. So it's astounding.
It's just incredible what you've created here. And it's a testament to what we all know, those of us in the car community, that it is such a tight-knit, wonderful community. I think virtually every person you mentioned, maybe except for one, Paul, I still haven't gotten him on at Cars Yeah. He's promised many times, but he's a little bit shy when it comes to talking in public,
yes,
I think. But I'll get him one of these days. But I think everybody else you've mentioned there's been a guest of mine here on Cars Yeah. You've got the who's who of judges, which is just absolutely brilliant involved in this. I think the whole thing is so much fun, and I really want to commend you for what you've done here to give all of us some excitement and joy with our cars. And we all know that we car guys, like you said, we have all these model cars sitting around and we enjoy them, of course, but getting to share them, you don't get to do that very often except with close friends that come over to your house. So I'm seeing some really cool models. I saw one last night in the Porsche class that was a Singer. I didn't even know there was a Singer model, which is, Rob Dickinson's Porsche's reimagined cars, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm having some fun with this. And again, I'll put a link to it for all of you listeners to go and check it out. Very easy to find, and it's going to pop right up because it's got so much traffic going on. The Isolation Island Concours d'Elegance. Take a little time, have a little fun with your pictures. You'll see my post. I post a lot of pictures of the actual build of my model because Jake sent me a bunch of pictures, which is really cool to see how the whole thing was put together rather than just the car, of course. I think this whole thing is it's so much fun. We're going to take a short break and thank our sponsors here. We'll be right back to talk with Andy just a little bit more, so sit tight. If you're listening to Cars Yeah, you've probably spent some time working on your favorite ride. But how confident are you working on your finances? You may be able to rebuild a fuel injection system, but can you decipher the details of a mutual fund? If you're like me, investments, insurance, annuities, budgeting, and other financial concepts may seem a bit daunting, but what if I told you there's a book that describes these subjects and more in an easy-to-read and a very humorous way? My friend Chris Kimball, CFP, a longtime sponsor and past guest here on Cars Yeah, has written that book, and it's titled The Saga of Ike and Penny, a couple's humorous journey through the confusing world of finance. It's a fun look at things you need to know. Everything from investing to effective ways to get rid of credit card debt, and it's probably the only book on finance with a VMAX on the front cover and a classic Mini Cooper on the back. The book's available at Amazon for just $10, and this book will dramatically improve the direction of your financial future. I gave copies to each of my children. All securities are through Money Concepts Capital Corp. Christopher Kimball Financial Services is not affiliated with Money Concepts Capital Corp. Get your copy, The Saga of Ike and Penny, today. Are you looking for a way to get your products or services into the ears of thousands of automotive enthusiasts around the globe? I can help. This is Mark Green here at Cars Yeah, and I'd be honored to be an influencer and ambassador for your brand in a unique and personal way. 5 days a week, thousands of subscribers and listeners enjoy the Cars Yeah podcast and website. Contact me today and I'll show you how at mark@carsyeah.com or connect with me through the Cars Yeah website at carsyeah.com. All right, we are back, Andy, and I'm not sure I asked you this question when you were on the show before because you were on the show, gosh, it was back in 2017. Time has flown by. I feel like I see you every day, though, because of all your posts. So, it's like, I just talked to Andy. It couldn't have been that long ago. But I want to ask you this question. It's a bit of an introspective question. If you woke up tomorrow, Andy, and you were a vehicle, you are actually manifest as a vehicle. Not what you want to be, but how you perceive yourself as a vehicle. What would the unique and eclectic Andy Reid be?
Mark, it would probably be a Bristol, and it would probably be something like a Bristol 411.
Oh, you're the first one of those. Well, now, why the Bristol 411?
Well, it's a funny thing. When I first started being involved in the business as a journalist, I was dressed like in the typical, polo shirt and khaki pants everybody wears. And the first person I ran into in the auction business was a guy named Mark Osborne. And I looked at Mark Osborne. He's a British public school educated person, and he was dressed very conservatively to the nines. And I'm like, I want to look like that, like elegant, but yet conservative, but yet powerful. And I was like, okay. And so I literally went and bought a British wardrobe of suits and to match that. And the Bristol is this car that you have to pay attention to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't know what it is. They built their cars in the hundreds versus the thousands and their models. And people that know, and they go, wow, that's a Bristol. Yeah. And it's a performance car of great. I mean, they're a 150 mile an hour car, which is pretty impressive.
Yes.
But they are a very, very understated, elegant thing. So.
Okay. I like it. And the good reasoning behind the answer there too. I like that very much. So I can see you as a Bristol. Yeah. Most definitely. Well, let me ask you this, and I always ask people for a great resource, but since we talked about ClassicCars.com and Haydenwood Insurance, tell our listeners how they can learn more about those two companies.
For ClassicCars.com, to find my stories, you just type into Google ClassicCars.com space Andy Reid, R-E-I-D, and you'll see my writer. The first thing that'll come up is my writer page. If you Google me, you'll get a football coach.
Okay.
For Haydenwood, it's easy. You go to haydenwood.com, and that's our company. And we represent Hagerty, AIG, American Modern, Grundy, a number of carriers. We find the right carrier for you.
I see. Awesome. Great. I'll make sure I put links to those on Andy's show notes page. You can just go to carsyeah.com, type in Andy Reid, and that page will pop right up. I always like to ask my guests for a book reference. And since you haven't been on the show in a long time, is there maybe a book you've read in the last, 6 months, 12 months that you think our listeners would really enjoy?
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's tough. I just reread A.J. Bames' Go Like Hell, which is what the Ford versus Ferrari movie is based on. Yeah. And it's interesting because it fills in the gaps and it tells a little bit different story of that. It tells the true story. It's a brilliant, sometimes car books can really, really go on and be quite boring. And it's not. It reads like a novel. And there's another book. I'll never find it, but it's on the shelf. There was this crazy book written years ago about the auto union, the German racing series, German racing in the pre-war era, and it's a really good movie but really good book rather. And I cannot. Someone asked me about this the other day, and I couldn't. It's like, wow, it's one of the best racing books I've ever read, and I cannot tell you what the title is.
Well, I'll see if I can find it and post it on your show notes page. A.J. Bames been a guest on our show twice now. Of course, Go Like Hell, I believe that's the second most recommended book here on Cars Yeah. The first being Seth, The Art of Racing in the Rain, and he was a guest as well. But AJ has written some really interesting books. He had a new book that he wrote, and I'll put a link to that on Andy's show notes page that he was on the show late last year. And of course, The Arsenal of Democracy, which is another incredible book that you should get your hands on by AJ. Just absolutely fantastic. So
yes, it is.
I'm glad that you mentioned those. Well, let me ask you this question. I kind of call it my checkered flag question. I like to ask all my guests this. It's a typical car guy question, but there are some rules involved that could make it a bit of a challenge. I'm going to buy you a collector car today, not a model, but the real deal, a car to park in your garage and use. But it needs to be a car that ticks all the boxes for you, meaning you can't sell it to buy a bunch of other toys with. That little game's off the trick, I should say, is off the table. You have to drive it. I want you to take it out and enjoy it. No garage queens. But here's the part that makes this a little bit of a challenge. It's the only one collector car that you can have in your garage. So you need to choose wisely, something that, like I said, ticks all the boxes. So what can I buy you, Andy?
I'll give you a hint. Its chassis number is DB5/1486/R. And it's the 1964 Aston Martin DB5 that was used in the movie Goldfinger and the movie Thunderball that is owned by Harry Yagi. So I've driven it.
You have? Oh, did the machine guns work to clear traffic in front of you?
Well, the funny thing is, you mentioned that. It was a couple years, like 15 years ago, in RM auctions in Arizona, pre-RM Sotheby's, when they were just RM, they had one of the PR cars out there. And on a Wednesday night after the cocktail party, Terry Lobson and I, he's guilty now, we're out. And he goes, hey, let's take this out. You want to take this out? I said, oh, I'd love to take this out. And so we're driving around the streets of Arizona, Scottsdale, firing the machine guns off, and we get and creating cutter racket and having a blast, and just cracking up. And a policeman pulls us over.
Well, of course.
In the car that isn't ours, that's going to auction the next day in Arizona. And he comes out, and Terry's freaking out. And he's like, we're going to go to jail, blah, blah, blah. This isn't our car. I'm going to get fired. I said, hold on, just chill out. Don't say anything because you're freaking out and I'm not.
Yeah.
I see the cop get out and he's all mad. And then I see him realize, because we've got the bulletproof shield up and the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And I see him realize what he's looking at. And he comes up to the thing and he goes, license and registration. Well, here's the license, but we don't have a registration. He goes, really? I go, yeah, it's an RM Sotheby's car we're test driving. And he goes, is this what I think it is?
Yeah.
And he goes, I go, I think you're probably right. He goes, this is the James Bond car. I said, yeah, it's one of the James Bond cars. And he goes, and I said, would you like to sit in it? And he goes, really? And I said, get out of the car, Terry. So Terry gets out of the car. Cop gets in the car. I said, if you want to work the machine guns, they're right there. And so he opens the thing and he pushes the machine guns. He's like, so here's the story. We've had calls that someone is shooting people from a car all over Scottsdale and running around in an Aston Martin. Obviously, these are fake, but can you guys just drive home quietly and
stop shooting people?
But he's like, thank you for letting me sit in the car. I've always dreamed about this car. I said, me too. And he goes, have a good night. Be careful. Don't be an idiot. And we drove home, and that was it. And so, it's a different thing. You're like 10 years old. So when you're driving the thing.
Yeah, no kidding. There's a gentleman, Pat Hart, who we lost him years ago, but he's a developer and a car collector up here in the Pacific Northwest. And he had one of the original, I believe it was number 3 Batmobile.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his sons and a friend got in it one night and went roaring through Seattle and, having a blast and driving way too fast. And same thing, got pulled over by the Washington State Highway Patrol and like, holy, we're in trouble, Batman. And ended up getting pictures with the cop sitting in the car and all this stuff. So yeah, childhood memories and so forth. So, well, that's cool. You got to ride in Goldfinger's car. I have a feeling this is going to cost me a pretty penny, Andy, to get this out of that Harry's hand so you can park it in your garage. Right?
Well, he paid, I think, $6 for it. So, 4.4 million pounds at the time. So, And the one that I drove in Scottsdale, the PR car, not even a movie used car, I think it sold for $6 in Monterey last year. So, frames it up a little bit.
Yeah, they're a little pricey, that's for sure. Well, with this decline in the economy and my investment markets, it may take a while for me to come back. So just sit tight so I can get that money back from the decline that's happened here in the market so I can buy you that car. Oh, that's a nice choice. Yeah, definitely every childhood young man's dream to drive that Aston Martin. For sure. Pretty impressive that you know the VIN number too, but I'm not surprised. Well, listeners, again, you can find everything about Andy and about the Isolation Island Concours d'Elegance on his show notes page. I'll put links there. If you're into cars, which I'm sure you are, and you have models, you can go, you can enter. Now, we're recording this show mid-April. It goes up in May, but we're hoping everything's still going to be happening as far as your car show by then because you've had such a good turnout. So we'll cross our fingers that everything is still happening as far as that goes. We'll cross all our fingers to hope that this whole pandemic thing is starting to be behind us so we can all get back to work and get to car shows and have fun. Andy, thank you for taking us on a fun ride today, especially in that Goldfinger car. Before I let you go, though, could you offer our listeners maybe one little parting piece of optimism and hope and wisdom and guidance before you rip off into the sunset in James Bond's DB5?
Well, I just think keep moving forward. It's a quote from a guy named Joe Pike in Robert Crace's novels. He writes, he's a mystery author, and he always his whole motto is keep moving forward. Yeah. And I think if we all just keep moving forward in the way we can and are able to, then we'll be fine after this. I mean, there's definitely changes going on, but just to not watch the news every day and not be negative and try to help other people out.
Well, that's the key. Try to help other people out because I'll bet you've got people around you. I have some neighbors around me that are elderly. We've been helping them by going shopping for them and bringing them things so that they don't put themselves at risk because they are a little bit older and in some cases have some health issues. So yeah, find out how you can help people around you. That will make you feel a lot better about your personal situation. We'll all get through this eventually. We'll all be okay. I promise you. Andy, thanks for taking some time out today to share the Isolation Island Concours d'Elegance with us. Thanks for letting me enter a car in that. I love it. And until you and I talk again or we see each other at a car show, I'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.